Morning, Char. Morning, Mike. Chardonnay. Mike is making stuff. Welcome. Mike Osborne. Welcome, 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 welcome. We're going to sharpen these. I'm not going to spend a lot of time polishing these. I got a bunch of stuff I want to do. I've got my soap here. I'm going to make a soap box and a rack for a giveaway here. Here's the, these are not part of it, but this is the soap holder, right? So your soap sits up on here and the little schmutz or the water can run down and this will hold the soap. You know, you stick this on your shower ledge or whatever. It was the best design I found. I really liked it, and we'll trim off these edges. These are not part of it. Most of the edges will be trimmed off, and you'll be able to put your soap right up on top of that. And it will fit into the cherry box that I'm going to make today. This is just taking a little break from the bed. The bed has to be finalized and then installed. But I wanted to take a little break and do some smaller stuff. Robert G, welcome. Robert G. Hope that's not hitting the camera. So if y'all are getting shaking over there. Morning, Plywood. Plywood, Mike, Robert G, Shar. Appreciate y'all coming. This is not water. This is actually paint thinner. My stone's gotten to critical mass with this stuff that's in it, all the schmutz. Like, you can see that. So just taking that, like that, you see I got a lot of stuff in there. It's bad. Quick polish, and then we're on to doing some actual woodwork here. Small wood lot. Okay. See you later, buddy. Appreciate you being here. Gonna get a bench grinder in here or use my dad's bench grinder here to get these edges straight again. Gonna be kind of a bear of a thing because there's a lot of edges to straighten out. For now, I can use the angled sharp edge, so I'm not too worried about it. But actually, don't know. Once I get that edge straight, it might hit me. I might feel awkward with them because I'm so used to having, you know, sharp but rounded edges, rounded bevels. Oh, that was bad. Abdul Rahman, welcome. Billy, welcome. It's warm in here. Trinity, welcome. Fan's not pointing at me. I'm going to tell you, when I tried an inversion table, what happened. I injured myself badly, because I tensed up when the inversion table was flipping back. And I know I'm not the only one that's happened to, because Heather said the same thing happened to her. So inversion tables are not like the silver bullet. You know what I mean? My dad had one too. I don't even know how he did that with how bad his back hurts. Like, how do you let that? I got a terrible injury from that thing, man. It took months for this muscle tear, muscle pull to go away, because I tensed up on the way back and I didn't do it incrementally, you know? Welcome to Dad's Workshop. I'm Calvin. Today we're going to be working on a giveaway item. We're going to be making a little box for soap, taking a break from the bed to cut just a single dovetail box out of this piece of cherry that I'm going to show you now, or not. Show you this piece of cherry here. I have the layout marks. We're going to do this by hand, a single dovetail in each corner. What am I doing? You relax and dangle from it. This is not, I don't think this is going to show me cutting here. You know, if you weight lift right, your back should be better from it, to be honest. Like, weightlifting should help your back in a lot of ways. All right, first cut. That's a little short of the line. I don't want it to be like that. I don't know what I'm going to do. That's like the whole thing's messed up now. All right, we'll try to do it like this. I figured I would go do this the hard way and see, you know, it's biting around there. I can't get it out. It looks straight from that side, but the other line, oh, it's not too bad. Like a belt sander would probably help with that. All right, let's put this piece aside since we don't really need this. This is 3.5 by 5, this box. It's gonna be tough to do like this, not gonna lie. Trying to get off that line. Trying to get it back across. Wish I had Laxus in here. Right. After my back smash, I went from 6 feet even to 5'10". Dang, lost that. Lost 2 inches out of that. It's tough. It's tough. All right, so that's my first. That's a 5-inch length. That's going to be a tail side. The pins are the ones that stick out. The tails are the one that come in. So welcome everybody. I'm using a real light touch right now because it seems to be keeping me on the line when I do that. I didn't really leave any room for curve either. So. All right, so now we got. It's going to be so tricky too because these are going to have some curvature to them. So it's not going to look like perfect dovetails like machine cut with a router. It's going to look like hand ones. We're going to make them good though. All right, that's 2 of our 4 pieces. And I want to follow that line. A lot of times these are done with pins or knives too, layout knives. And then you would like usually use what's like a caliper to do the measurement between dovetails. I don't even have one of those. So we got to work with what we got to do these. Real light hand with this is what I'm using to try to stay on the line. I've been having better success with it. Mike says he got smashed in the door of a 577 personnel carrier. Forgive me, I do not know what that is. Cal, you have lots of patience for your age. Yeah, I try to have patience. This Some of this stuff takes some patience. I think maybe 17 years of being a public school teacher also helped with my patience. But here's what we're going to do now. We know, let me get my, it's really like 15/16 of an inch. It's not really an inch. And I have this kind of idea where I want to make sure I'm laying it into that edge straight. So let's do this here. Make sure that we got the reference face exactly straight, or as I'm laying it down. That's not bad. My cuts weren't too bad for hand. This is cherry right here. Got a lot of sapwood on it. This is a 1x3. Maybe the other piece, since it's going to be that one anyway. I want to thank all of my members for being members. I want to thank all of my subscribers for subscribing. Let me take this time to do that. Appreciate all of you. Loyalty is hard to find these days. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Appreciate all your loyalties. IMO. Seems like. All right, here's the soap right here. I got a couple different kinds of soap. This is a lavender. They're all made with coconut, olive oil, and some different, different types of oil. This is going to be the soap that goes into the box, the gift box. So whole bunch of different kinds of soaps. Yep. Can y'all see that? Smoke, I'm well. I hope you're well. This is a 5-inch side, so that's going to be tails. Another 5-inch side is going to be tails, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. We got 3 inches approximately here on each edge. Just double check that. Yeah. So what we're going to do is an inch from each side, there's going to be a mark. We'll use as sharp as pencil as we can here. So at 1 inch and 2 inches, there's going to be a mark. We're going to do a single dovetail. Or actually, these would probably be done here. These are going to be the pins, so we'll put that mark at the bottom here on this line, which is the shoulder line. So right there, and right. Oh, that wasn't good. I didn't see properly. Okay. Yep. Get that other mark off of there. Then we're going to take our protractor. I'm going to set it to like, let's say 75 degrees. We got to set it an angle and stick with it. 75 degrees looks fine to me. We'll do 75 from that point to the edge, right? I'm just showing you how to do it, like, you know, with hand tools. I'm sure there's a million router jigs you can cut dovetails with, and a million guys who show you videos on how to do it in a million different ways. Here's the easy way to cut a single dovetail with what you have. 75-degree angle there. Unfortunately, I don't know where my other protractor is, so I'm going to set a 75-degree angle the other direction. You have to do this over and over again if you don't have two protractors. I like to keep two, but I don't know where my other one is at the moment. I want to make sure I'm straight against that layout line. Tolerance is low, you know, so you got to get it right. All right, so that's my first layout there. Then I'm going to take those lines and run them across the top. The best way I would say to do this so it's consistent is actually don't readjust your protractor again. Take that line right there and come straight down to the 1 inch and the 2 inch mark. I'm getting bit by flies. Line up on my face. All right, where the heck was I? I made the long side the pins. Oh well, we'll do that. All right, so the long sides are going to be the pins. That's not typically the orthodox way to do it, but we'll do that anyway. Who cares? All right, so here's the pin. I'm not going to relay it out again. Even that line. I'm more picky than I used to be, man. When I made these, I like to make sure my lines are right on. Good morning to everybody. Hope everybody had their coffee. Everybody's hanging out, having a good time. It's Monday morning. Got to enjoy every day, even Monday, you know. So I've got my 2 and 3 inch point mark, or 1 and 2 inch mark, right? The other way, you really don't need to use the protractor at this point. You could probably just connect the dots, right? We'll go ahead and use the protractor, set at 75. What's up? So happy to be here today. You know, you learn a new thing every day. Sometimes that new thing isn't like a school thing. Oh, I saw him in there earlier. I think I said hi. Welcome. Probably would put a coffee cup in there. That's probably because I was talking about coffee. I don't know. Can you bring that when you come back out? Can you bring the other bug spray? They are not responding to that stuff. They're in my ear and in my eyes. I don't know what it is about these ones out here. They're so aggressive. So we got a 3-dimensional layout of that tail there. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but y'all see, this is basically, it'll work. If you want perfect, use a machine to cut it, I guess. Mike had the guitar out last night, getting that Stairway to Heaven. Thank you. 75 degrees is the angle. Oh, is Wes in here? Welcome, Wes. We had a question? Oh, um, Smoke did ask Wes when he sleeps, and he did spell it correctly actually, because Wes was on. Like I woke up, I would have, of course, I always want to be in everybody's live, but sometimes I wake up and find out you all went live. I woke up in the middle of the night, as I do multiple times usually. Not a great sleeper. Uh, Woke up in the middle of the night, saw Wes had been live at 11:30. Missed that one. All right. So on these ones here, this is a tail piece. So here's a pin piece right here, right? And did someone ask about the giveaway? Or should I explain that again? Okay. Yeah, sure. Um, so yeah, we got this is cherry, by the way, just a lot of sapwood right here. So probably want that side to stick out. It doesn't matter if you have a little kind of two-tone look, but you can see the heartwood meets the sapwood there. So the tails gotta fit the pin, obviously. So we're gonna go and we gotta make sure they flute outward consistently, right? So, and after I finish this, I'm gonna show you. I'll have this piece right here. This is the soap holder that's gonna go in the box. You set your soap up on top of here. It allows the water to run out, and your soap won't slide off your bathtub or wherever. It's gonna be smaller than this. We'll trim all this mess off and all this off this side, and the soap should sit right up on top of there. It was the coolest design I had seen for it. So we're gonna go 1 inch in from each side. Listen to that bird. Y'all hear them? We love our birds here. 70th, that was West said that looks cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. If it succeeds, it should be going to you since you're the one that I put a members only post up the other day that said, somebody tell me why this tree is bent. The hint is deer. First answer is the next giveaway. So I actually didn't even expect anybody to be so quick with it. Wes came in with the answer very quickly. And then I believe New Beginnings Chase was behind him. So here we have, this is the tail, right? So here's the pin, here's the tail. Pin goes into tail, right? Now what we need to get here is a depth line. So doesn't matter, you could put this up against it or take your tool and measure it out, but it's about 15/16 of an inch. See if that line is straight. This was a miscut I made here on the top, unfortunately. Now this side's going to be straight down, so we'll try to do that in the clamp. So yeah, so this soapbox will be going to Wes, and I'll do another one for subscribers also. You don't have to pay money to have a chance to do a giveaway and, or win a giveaway. It's just kind of coincidental that Wes was the first one to see that post and respond to it. Of course, any member can see that post, and they all probably got the alerts. So it's no funny stuff. This is easy here because I'm just going to transpose the mark that I see at the top of the tail there and there. Now, a lot of times this is done with knives. I've had a problem in the past seeing knives, right? So here you see the tail laid out in 360 degrees with a little bit of extra stuff going on down here, right? Now, typically, the tail is going to be on the long side. The pin's going to be on the short side. But when I started laying it out, I got it wrong, and I'm not going to go back and change it. Sorry. So it's going to be pins are on long, tails are on short. Well, what he won on here was a soap box with soap in it because that's the next giveaway item. So craft soap that Heather and I made, and a little box and a little holder to go in the shower. And if you don't like that stuff, you can certainly give it to someone who's like a body care product, because I put a lot of like time into the body care products I make. I don't just kind of make soap and give it up. I think about the oils that go into it and all of that good stuff. You can kind of see in this case why you would want to have this be the pins, because the next tail I do is going to take another inch off that side. Let's go start by laying that out. Well, you got a gift membership right now, man. So, you know, you are still a member. You are a member and you would have received that. But yeah, man, I know. I understand. There's some other channels that I want to be members to too. And right now I'm on, you know, I'm not going to complain, but I'm at a point where I'm going to have to, you know, things are going to have to start going up really quickly for me. So I can't afford to be member to anybody else's channel at the moment. I wish I could. I really wish I could. 'Cause I would be. I would definitely. Oh, that little piece broke off the edge there. It's all right. We'll still be all right. Now, when the tail side is this small, I could probably transpose lines across it, but I don't want to put those pencil marks on there. Doesn't make sense. We'll start by going, and we're fluting out here from 2 inches, 1 inch and 2 inch, or you could do it like this. Here's an inch right here. I want to make sure I'm going the right direction. It's going to be down here, and then right here. 75 degrees. Make sure your protractor's still set. Sometimes they can slide. All of these 1-inch intervals, it actually makes it easy to do this kind of like this here. Flip it around, same thing. Tail, tail, right? Pin, pin, tail, tail. Let's go ahead and lay everything out before we cut. Do me a favor though, if you're in here and you're hanging out, double tap that like. Give me a like for this. Subscribe to the channel and consider becoming a member, because members do. There are perks. Like I really try to care for my members and make sure that they are appreciated. This is a pin side, so we're gonna do the same thing up here. Though I will tell you, I've been checking these with the other reference face because they might be slightly off there. That's not too bad. An inch from this side. Go like this. Side. Let's do this. This is a tail side. Okay. All right. This is like this. So here's another way to do this. We got this side like this, right? And we need this side to be the opposite. Mark right there, right there. That's it. 75 degrees. I got that laid out. This inch layout mark here. Smash that like, said Smoke. Facts, said Mike. Smoke Shop said, hashtag empire building. That's what you got to do, man. You got to just, you know, they build slow. This is how it is. Just like this. This dovetail box, you know, empires, they build slow. When I cut this one, y'all are going to notice the line is a little outside that because this one actually here, that wasn't very good. Neither of those was very good. Yeah. All right, now two tails. Now the pins, right? We got two of these already, so we can use the layout marks. I mean, this is kind of the lazy man's way of doing it, but we're gonna do it anyway. I love that. Like I said, that was like 30 seconds or something right there. So that's more of what it is right there. So What did I just do? Did I just lay a tail out when I was supposed to lay a pin out? See, this is ADHD in action for you guys. So I have my 2 tails laid out. The more I do these, the better. It should have been a pin, so I got to go back. Big eraser for big mistakes, right? Really, that's the way it should have been. I should have used these long pieces for tails, but I didn't. So now that has to go. What a pain. So right. Some folks like to see mistakes. It makes them feel human, or like the person they're watching is human, which I definitely am. Watch this. Watch me make tons of mistakes. All right, let's do this again. This is what we meant to do here. This is really simple, especially with the pins. And the pins are much easier to cut. Well, when you got single dovetails than the tails are, because you don't have to work around, like a coping saw and multiple. You can do this with a hand saw pretty easily if you're decent with a hand saw. These little guards on this clamp are good for this type of application because you don't really want to mar up your cherry box that much. Looks like I got my layout line there. Just need it on the other side here. Trigger Happy, welcome. What was the question? Oh. Yeah, so the bunk bed is basically done, man. All that needs to be done now is just like a little trimming of braces, and then it needs to be taken to the location and installed. The people who it's going to would not know how to install it, so it has to be put in there by me and Heather. And so, yeah, I mean, it's ready. I don't think I'm going to stain it. I think maybe the owner is probably not. They probably like it raw wood. I thought of a couple of things. If anything, I do like the steel wool and the vinegar bit. That looked good. I think kind of the more you let the steel wool sit in there, it seems like the better it is. So here's what we're going to do now. So the bed is basically done. What I'm trying to do at this point, besides like take a tiny break from it and build this little box and do a giveaway for my members, I'm going to do another one of these if this works out and isn't, it looks good, because I'm not worried about how hard it is. If it looks good, then we'll do this one again, because I know people, even if they don't like soap, it gives them something they can give as a gift that would look nice. Who doesn't like to look nice when they give a gift? So the bed is basically done, man. I'll show it to y'all in a second. The rail is up there. There's one little tricky bit about the rail. One of the rails only fits backwards, so I got to find a way to cut that mortise so that it can go on there right. That doesn't look right. It was a big project, and it was fun. I can't wait to do the wood steam bender, which once this bed is out of the shop, there will be space for it, you know, because then you can just build some awesome stuff, man. Like a steam bender allows you the ability to just build amazing stuff. My uncle has a large one because he restores Chris Craft boats, the original wooden ones, not the new ones, you know. Um, so the first time I saw one of those or experienced a steam bender was seeing my uncle's for his large pieces of plywood that he spent a lot of money on. This, I think it was probably maple or birch plywood that they use on Chris Craft, but very specially made. So I had no idea. One time I took a trip with him, and it was in Minnesota. So we went from a rural area about 100 some miles to near the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, to get one piece of plywood for a boat. Yeah, that's better. These like little gnats that are in here, they are like dive bombing gnats. I don't know whether it's like the dog shit that brings them in here, man, but it's so annoying because like they are like biting gnats. Like they won't, the DEET doesn't work on them very well. You're like trying to do delicate work and you got this gnat flying in your ear at the same time. What y'all know about that? Yeah, Chris Craft boats, man. And you're not very far up there, man. He's up there where he takes his boat is Lake Okoboji in northern Iowa, so not a long ways from where you're at, Mike. Probably, you know, within a couple 100 miles. No, that's where his boat is docked. So he has this steam bender, and I saw him using it, and I've seen people do it online and do such crazy, cool stuff with it. It opens the world up to like what you can build when you can bend stuff and you make some forms to bend them. You know, you can make interesting furniture. Oh wow, yeah. So never mind. You're on the Montana side of North Dakota near Cheyenne, right? Where's Cheyenne at? Montana, right? That is far away. You're right. That's the Wild West up there, guys. Mike lives in the Wild West. All right, not perfect, guys, but those are lining up. Those a little bit. It's okay. Looks pretty good there. Pins, tails. Ready? Let's do these by hand, dude. Let me take a quick water break. Let's cut some dovetails. I'm so excited. I'm psyched. Wish that pin would go in. Take the. Is it any wonder I don't have a hammer on hand really close? All right, water break real quick. Going down the grain, so I got to use the rip side. The other day, Pilato really didn't like doing this. We're going to stay inside this line, okay? Staying inside the line. Pilato said it was too loud for his wife, so he stopped using the rip side of his saw. I think he had one of them Harbor Freight ones, though, so I don't blame him. The ones are terrible. They are so bad. I used one this weekend, so I know. Staying inside those lines. I like to do the tails first. It doesn't matter there. I can fix that as long as I'm inside because the tails are harder. Tails are harder. Yeah, Cheyenne's on the edge of Wyoming, though, near the North Dakota border, I think. I could be wrong about that. Where's Pilato at when I want to show off? Oh, you love it, huh? You like the Japanese saw from Harbor Freight? I had one here, man. I did not care for that. I'm going to tell you. And no one pays me to say that. This one is about 10 years old. The one at Harbor Freight, less than a year old. This one's gone through some mess and it still cuts better. IMO. Of course, it's up to individual woodworker what they like and don't like, you know? BYU. I don't know if BYU won this weekend. He may be in a good mood. You know how your team winning or losing can affect your mood. Spritz myself with some of this stuff. Again, the rip side of the saw. Woodchucker, Caleb, welcome, 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 welcome. A wood plane. What kind of a plane? Mike said I bought a wood plane of theirs. I believe he's referring to Harbor Freight. Is it a hand plane or is it a? I bought a wood plane I've been trying to fix, but see, if you bought it there, why would it require fixing? That's the problem with Harbor Freight. So like, we shouldn't have to buy something and fix it. I made a chainsaw video and the pull start came out of the Husqvarna, and this guy was like, "You don't know how to fix a pull?" Of course, I know how to fix a pull start, but I'm not going to fix the pull start in a brand new chainsaw. That's idiocy. It should go back to the company and they should replace it. I want to waste my time to prove I got a set. Like, honestly, man, like, what does it do for you? Not you, Mike. Not talking about you. You want to fix that plane? I don't know the whole story. I'm talking about like chainsaws. This guy's like, "You don't know how to fix a pull start. I don't know what you but." So I'm like, okay, man. Look, it's a brand new chainsaw. I have fixed pull starts before, multiple times when I had to. Right now, let's talk about what we're doing here. This is a set of dovetails that we're doing for a box. I've been playing it real conservative here. I stayed away from the lines. Now I'm going to try to pair back to these lines here. Looks like I pair a little bit beyond that line in the front there. My goal is that these are better than the last set that I made, which was a number of years ago, actually. So hopefully with the more experience I've gained, they'll come out better. We'll tippity tap that stuff, but I need y'all to tippity tap that like button, tippity tap that screen. Eco Woodcrafts, welcome. Anybody I missed? I saw Caleb come in. Heather, let me know if I missed anybody in the chat. Zip. So keep getting that money. Zip. Zip. Annoying AF. Annoying as flies. Good. Lee Neeson. They don't sell Lee Neeson planes at Harbor Freight. That's like an actual good plane. They may sell they may sell Lee Nielsen's there, but they don't sell Lee Neeson's there. Ooh, I got to my line a little there. That's something I try not to do here. I'm almost tempted to take this and actually make another saw cut right here. I think I can probably get it in. Yeah, yeah. I see. I missed the other part that you said about that. Sorry. That one's just gonna have to be pared away. If you're real careful, you can take a jigsaw or a bandsaw and go in here carefully without cutting out the dovetail edges and clean that up. It's a little easier. Sometimes it's a little easier. Ooh, look at that. I just got to blow out. Hold on. Didn't make enough of a stop cut. So I'm going to have to put this one aside. This is what we got to do here. This should be repairable. Did not expect that at all. Having made a stop cut, I expected that to work. But this is the type of things that happen here. All right, so this piece, while we work on the other ones, we're going to glue this up. It's not going to take any stress, so it shouldn't come back out. We shouldn't even notice it. We're going to put that piece back in with glue here. Dang, that's a blower. I was just about done with that other side. You said Rob Corey, what was his name? Cosman. That's good, man. I'm glad he's doing stuff for, it's always good to do stuff for others too. What did I do with that piece? All right, so we got our piece here. This is the blowout piece. We're just gonna fit that in there. I'm gonna clamp it down, try to get this squeeze out, but it should be invisible, so we don't have the problem anymore. It's gonna be a little. If we're gonna take any of this wood out here, though, we gotta wait 24 hours, which kind of sucks a little bit. Let's put a shim in there. A little shim around here somewhere. Shim, shimmy, shim, shimmy, shim, shim for me. That's what I need. This is perfect. All right. We're going to put that like this. That's woodworking IRL, buddy. That's what that is. Woodwork IRL. You just did a class on dovetails. This is the other tail side here. My stomach is growling. All right, we'll do it like that so y'all can see. No, that's not the rip side. That is. Yeah, that's right. I want that angle for you. Yeah, that's my only thing is like I'm not even sitting on here claiming to be a master, but there are many people in the woodworking scene on YouTube who, if you don't do it like they do it, and you have an apprentice or something like that, that they kind of like, it's just snobbery, you know, of all things, like a craft where you're taking a natural fiber and using it has so much snobbery in it. No, I went a little bit below the line there. I'm sure Cosman would hate that. I need to get me a new coping saw. I was pretty good with them when I was a kid, but I haven't used a coping saw in many years. I also hit my knuckle against something on here. I think it was part of the vise. It's like probably a professional woodworker could cut dovetails like these in like 5 to 10 minutes, or there is an exercise where they do it, like a 5-minute dovetail. One of these pins, one of these tails, just checking to see, can you cut a dovetail in 5 minutes, right? Yeah, Mike, we enjoy having you here. We enjoy having all our members and all our friends in here. So double tap that like, make sure that you subscribe. If you are thinking of becoming a member, you want to become part of this community, it's pretty good here. Not gonna make excuses. It is Monday morning though. Snobbery or woodery? It's snobbery sometimes, man. It's okay to know what you know and know it well. I'll tell you this though, as a professional musician who went to college for music, I'm expected to keep my mouth shut about a lot of musicians who don't play well, don't do this well, and I'm expected to say, oh, they're an artist. I'm supposed to call them artists. So, and I don't ever not. Like, I respect all kinds of music, even the stuff that's not made by, professionals or people who went to music school. Sometimes those are the best musicians. But at the same time, I'm expected to do that. I feel like in the woodworking world, everyone's, and sometimes it's just in general, there's a lot of gatekeeping and a lot of different stuff, man. There's a lot of gatekeeping. There we go. That was a good cut. That's going to leave me with only a little bit to pare on that side. Little trick if you have a hand drill is to put a Forstner bit on that drill and actually drill down through these. We can do that in a second if you want to see how to do that so that we can remove waste without doing what I just did and blowing out a whole piece and having to wait for a long time for it to dry. This one I really missed that outside line. Let me see if I can get a little closer. Maybe I can't. Oh, I did. Look at that. I managed. Look at that. One here. Getting a little too ambitious. How many strokes does it take? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. About 11 strokes. 1, 2, whoops. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's about 11 strokes. Not everyone can be Andre Rubo. You know what I mean? Everybody knows that. Not everyone can be Andre Rubo, says Mike Osborne. After blowing that side out over there, I want to make sure I make enough cuts. Nah, Mike, I don't think you come off as a know-it-all, and you get to respect a lot of guys because you've got like hacks, and like Mike has hacks for a lot of stuff. That gets respect. Like that garners respect from folks. If you can do a little with hand tools and you know how to use power tools, you're going to get like the respect of average Joe. He's going to give you respect. All right, let's do this. Let's go about this carefully here. I do kind of want to use this Japanese mortise chisel here that I got. It's about the 5th time I hit this watch. I usually don't wear the watch out here anymore, at least. This has been good at doing these in the past. So. Yeah, that is true, Mike. Definitely gotten that a lot. I mean, and very recently too, you know. It's tough, man, because it makes you feel like a stranger in a strange land. Like people are always asking you to learn stuff, and then when you learn it real well and you demonstrate it, they're like, not the time to talk about it, you know. That's why we have YouTube channels, man, you know. The OCD is actually clinically the opposite of ADHD. It's crippling, but it's in a different way. My uncle has it really bad. And he can't stop unlocking doors, and if locks don't function properly, he'll freak out. He changed the locks on my house a couple times because he just didn't like the way they felt. So he like came home. He was staying to visit, and he handed us like new keys to the door. Like, here's the new lock. Like, it would be weird if he only kept the keys, but he changed the locks and then give us the new keys. Changed the deadbolts and everything. You know, there's WD-40. You know what I mean? Yeah, it used to be considered that OCD was the clinical opposite of ADHD. But if someone's a psychologist, a clinical psychologist in the audience, they can tell me. Okay, so last time my stop cut on the top here was not deep enough, and I blew out. So I'm just gonna make sure that's deep enough. Uh-oh, that could have been bad too because I didn't do a stop cut on the other side. Yep, sure did. Look, I did the same thing, y'all, on this side too, and I felt it. I knew it was happening. I didn't do a stop cut over here. Same thing happened. Probably partially a function of this this tail side being short, but also I didn't hammer in my stop cuts, and there's sapwood on that side, so I'm gonna try to keep this on here while that's not gonna work. All right, so last time all I did was just saw through it. Man, what a pain. It is fixable though. And I want to clamp it too hard because I don't want to mess that grain up on the bottom. It's going to be what holds it in place. So probably wasn't good for those teeth. All right, so I didn't do stop cuts on the bottom, and I started hammering into the material, and that was a bad decision. But you see, I can fix it here pretty easily. Same way I fixed the other one. We'll clamp it down, and we'll cut our pins out. I changed my mind about whether it's going through stress though. If you're putting dovetails in here, it will be, this joint and this glue will be stressed slightly. So you probably should wait like 24 hours to, I can see it. So you can see if the glue is coming out in here, right? Then that means when I put a piece in there, it's going to stress this area. So I really got to wait 24 hours to work that again. And that's unfortunate, but that's how woodwork is, guys. Doesn't happen in 5 minutes like a YouTube video. I thought I could get these done. I'm going to do this tails. Then we're going to trim that soap holder. I'm going to show you how that's going to work. These are easier, obviously. It's simple cuts, right? Now I really like to I generally use a bandsaw for these, or a jigsaw, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use a handsaw here. I think the best way to do is make several lateral cuts and then come down the grain with the chisel. as you all have seen me do before, actually. In some ways, man, you know, in some ways we have. When I see people like um, commit suicide, I'm like, wow, those folks are like my cousin's husband went to Berkeley, got a PhD from Penn, was handsome, had a beautiful family, was the headmaster of a really, really elite school, and they came home to find the man hanging in his garage, you know, and he had suffered so bad. And it can get anybody. And I just say, what if he would have just expressed that he was not happy, that he was all the stuff he had learned and all of these things, these skills he built his whole life, and then he just is so upset with himself, you know. One of my sons was just diagnosed with both of those last week, you know, both of those two things Mike mentioned. And we want to do stop cuts here, and on the back side before we ever go into that. So let me do these other ones here real quick. Not real quick. Carefully. All right. One more cut in here. I know BBT is a show people are polarized about BBT, but Sheldon shows it so much. He's obsessive, but oblivious to social cues because his default setting is they think I'm weird, whatever. Yeah, my son really, the one I just mentioned, loves that show. It's one of his favorite shows. But not Big Bang Theory, the young Sheldon. Yeah. There's some like maybe in the future that they think that you know, possibly autism spectrum disorders and ADHD are related, like ADHD is on the autism spectrum. Maybe they do that later. Maybe we find that out later. You know? All right, just as a safeguard, we want to go, and hopefully y'all can see this because I've leaned it down so you can see it. We want to do stop cuts here, outside the tail mark, not on the line, but outside. right? So that we have some room for error. Even along the top, you might want to do them too. You got a 360-degree shake. You got to remember that. And that's what I was not. It's been a while since I've done these. And so the mistakes are a result of that, probably. The more you do these, the better at them you are. Let's do this. We can do this while this is up here. Then we flip it over. So when you're making dovetails, here's the key. When you're making the pins need to be too big, right? So cut outside the line, right? When you're making the tails need to be too small. So cut inside the line. If you learned anything today, listen to that. When you're cutting dovetails and you're making the pins, which is what I'm on now, you're making the pins too big so you can take material out. When you're making the tails, which is what I messed up on a few minutes ago, you make them small so that you can make them larger. And if you do that, you'll be able to adjust your way to a perfect fit. Right? And that's the key. You don't end up with gaps and stuff like that. When you have a dovetail, especially multiple dovetails, tolerance, very, very small amount of tolerance. Yes, that's right. You parry your way to the fit, like Mike said. You can feel the difference in the texture of the sapwood from the hardwood, dude. And that's probably why I've had problems with blowout, because we got two different consistencies going on here, big time. Yeah, there was a lot of that when I was a kid, for sure. Still a lot of that. And in the more lower income school districts, you have the teachers that are not going to, well, they're not bad teachers, but many of them come from that kind of a no nonsense environment where it's just you fit in or you're doing something wrong. You know, look at that. I did not mean to do that, but see, it came outside that line. When you're going down the grain, you might get more than you bargained for, so be careful here. See? Even the heartwood side of this is acting real brittle. I knew this board was questionable. I was a little worried. If there wasn't neurodiversity, the arts wouldn't exist. I don't think. Not in the way they do. Arts would be rigid and boring. It would be more like craft hour at the old folks' home all the time. That's the way arts would be without neurodivergent people. Yeah, at my school, if we collected enough register receipts from the grocery store, Apple Computers would donate another Apple computer. So our labs were full of computers donated by Apple from their partnership with the grocery store. So we brought in register tapes, and that's how we got all our computers in our lab. We had 2GSs at my school when I was little in the late 80s. Apple 2GSs, if you know what that is. All supplied by Giant Food Store, which I believe is a company that's kind of going out of business now. With Wegmans and all that, they struggled. All the fancy grocery stores that kind of put them out of business. Macs and PCs were so much different back then that I remember thinking of the lab director at my school. I remember his name. His name was Mr. Bertan. Kind of looked like Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's, except for he was alive, which is a good thing. My dad was really good with PCs back then. 286s, 386s, 486s. You know, he was already building them, and he was teaching my brother as a little guy how to build them. And so then from then, you know, from the late 80s through the early 2000s, they always built their own computers. Yeah, they probably were bought out. It was Giant Food Stores that did the partnership with Apple back then with Mac to bring us computers to our schools. think the crows and the mockingbirds are arguing. Who's the meanest, right? They're arguing over that. I got that little corner a little cleaner than the other ones. Mike, got to get you some. Eat a piece of fruit. Eat a piece of fruit, or if you haven't, yeah, man, eat a piece of fruit, bro. Get you some of that sugar. You take insulin this morning and not eat. You get you a orange, right, or some juice. What do you have that can get your sugar up, man? You don't have any fruit there or juice? You should have fruit around there. If yeah, something like, I mean, I don't know. Do you wanna eat a rice or something like that? That might do the opposite thing and then boost his his blood sugar up the other direction. Like maybe a teaspoon of like cooked rice or something. Uh, oh my gosh, those okay. Well, yeah, rip off a piece of that honey bun, but that's like those sugars are gonna push you back the other direction probably. Yeah, I don't know. I'll let Mike handle that question there. Yeah, you gotta have something though. Yeah, Mike's on Manjaro. I was worried about that. So Manjaro's gonna make you lose your complete appetite. So this is one thing I noticed with my dad. He was on the same medication. Um, you have to force food into your gullet because it's taking your appetite away completely. You got no appetite anymore, and now your blood sugar is doing the opposite thing. Probably losing weight like crazy. Also, uh, yeah, my dad's on that same medication. I knew it, man. I had a feeling, and that's why your blood sugar is low because you took the meds, but you didn't eat because you have no appetite, probably. My dad's probably lost 75 pounds since he started that stuff. I mean, I would say it's good, but it makes me a little worried. Looking at him, he's a big guy for his frame to shrink that much. You got insulin too, and probably take insulin on a schedule. So you definitely got to make sure that you eat, because that insulin, like right now, your insulin is dominating in your body. It's hard to get that equilibrium, isn't it? Sugar, but not too much. It's the stuff they fed us our whole lives, man. I'm paring this down because I can see I'm not at the shoulder here. You all can probably see that too. Hey, Norm, what's up, man? Yeah, Manjaro, that stuff's scary, bro. It's scary. And then you're also on insulin too. Yeah, some people have that intuition though, and other people just don't listen to their bodies. They need meters and stuff like that. Glad you're checking your sugar though. That's like the first step there. Do me a favor, folks. Double tap that screen and like this video. Let's get this up to 50 likes for today. We got a pin side here, right? Pin side. I'm gonna just take this thing I glued up and show you how it's supposed to work in a second. Probably some more could be paired off of these a bit. I'm looking at these shoulders here. That's the one I just did. Let me work on that other one a second. That's good. These medications, they could be miracles. You know what I mean? I'm reserving judgment. My dad's been on it for a minute. I know he was having some problems, but there was a moment this summer where he collapsed, man, almost passed out. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I'm quite sure his blood sugar was low. They did not bring the meter with them on vacation. I should have told them yesterday when they left to bring that meter with them. Yeah, so you may have you don't have diabetes, but you may have hypoglycemia, which is also, you know, similar in a lot of ways. Cockamamie blood sugar is just, you know, kind of part of our culture here. It's probably in your family, and then there's dietary stuff. Is what it is. Well, I'm freaking out too, man. Make sure that you get equalized. You get your equilibrium back. Yeah, see, that Manjaro is keeping you from eating, which is what you really need to be doing, probably letting the foods regulate that in some ways. You need somebody making you like brown, small amounts of brown rice, vegetables, and protein, like big pieces of meat, fish, and stuff like that. It's pretty good there. And then we have another side. Whoa, if I drop that, it's going to break those tails. Here was what happened here is I came with the saw at this angle. See that's above. The other side is right on the line. So the only side that's raised is here. I'm going to have to take the chisel and pare that away. You know, it's just one of those things. It's kind of what I was worried about was blowout there. Do me a favor, folks. I'm so glad to have you here. Please do double tap that screen and like this video. Right now, we're working on a dovetail box as a giveaway. We're going to put some soap in this box. I'm going to, in a moment, cut the soap holder that's going to come along with it that you can set in your shower, you know, and, you know, it's a handcrafted item. Handcrafted stuff is always nice. You set it in your shower, the soap can sit on it, it won't slide off. How many people here have problems with soap sliding off their soap holder? I know I do. I'm going to raise my hand. So I'm going to make something for the giveaway that, and I don't sell anything here, at least not yet. So it's just a giveaway of an item that I think will be useful. And also, if you don't like, you know, body care products and stuff like that, usually there's somebody you know who does. So, you know. diverted from that line a bit, didn't we? What Laxus says, right? It's tricky though. Really, there's a couple different ways you could start new lines with this kind of a saw. One of them is to tilt this saw, right, at an angle. And I'm really close to the line here, so that was somewhat successful there. Well, who else was bleeding today besides me? I'm always bleeding, man. I'm always bleeding. Everything I do, I somehow manage to find a way to get bloody. Hey y'all, that's the bed. That's my other. Sorry. Just wanted to say bye to you. My phone died. Love y'all. Appreciate it. Take care. We'll see y'all a little bit later, and we'll finish this box. Love y'all. Thanks.